Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Arshilahi, and I'm online with a very good friend of mine and business partner to the name of Neil Ward. Neil, are you with us?
Yeah, hi Ash. Hi everyone. Good evening.
How you been?
Yeah, really good. Busy week. How about you?
Yeah, it's been a busy week, mate. So tonight's actually looking very busy. We've got a lot of people on online, and just so that you can hear it, make sure that you can hear us correctly. In the far right hand side of your screen, you should have like a panel box. If you can just put hi, whether you can hear us clearly and loudly, that'd be fantastic. But so far, yeah, a couple of people saying that they can hear us both. Yeah, okay, fantastic. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, okay. Neil, we've got Andre on the line from our rent to rent course done a couple of weekends ago.
Oh, hi Andre.
Okay,
Yeah, good.
okay.
Yeah, happy he's back on.
I think we've got Marcia online as well. Okay, brilliant. Okay, quite a few faces. Hello, Sarah. Right, okay, brilliant. So everyone can hear us correctly. Now, today, what we've done is that we're going to be talking about something today about how we manage to source deals and how to package them. I mean, there's a lot of people out there talking about sourcing deals, but then they sourcing deals is one thing. Putting it together and actually being able to package it and turn it into a business is something completely different. I don't think that anyone's actually teaching that out there. So tonight we're going to be talking and teaching about how you can do that, how you can turn it into business, and how you can actually make quite a good living out of it. One of the examples that I'm going to be putting in tonight is about a deal that I've recently sourced um, in Liverpool, out of all places. The reason why I say Liverpool is because when you're sourcing something and you're not intending on keeping it, you can actually source any property anywhere, almost like around the world. So one deal that we'll be talking about tonight is one that has actually generated an income of £40,000 from one property. Yeah, that's right. You heard me correct. £40,000. Now, to most, that will be more than a year's wage, but we've done it within 7 days, and I'm going to be talking to you, teaching you about how to do it. So, I'm not going to talk to you too much about who I am or what I do. I run a group of, I think it's 12 businesses with my brother, Aki Lahi, and together we've become accidental landlords as well as accidental letting agencies, which has spurred off to lots of different property related activities. We've been letting property since 73, um, and we've got well in excess of 500 tenants. That's quite old now. I think we're hitting nearly 700 tenants, all of whom are on benefits. We've got a very high 100% rent collection record and a very high occupancy rate of 98%. I checked in this morning on my personal portfolio. I think I've got one room vacant. So that's pretty impressive. I thought they've done really well there. Now, for anyone that knows me and follows the things that I do, I write articles in magazines. This is the one that I wrote. I think was it last? I think it was May 2015 about how you can actually make a decent living off a trader's life and what's the differences between buying it, holding it, or selling it. So I'll be talking to you a short while about that. Now, that's enough about me. We're going to keep the introductions rather brief this evening because we've got a lot to pack in. Uh, I want to be talking more so about the deal. How do we get the deal? How do we structure the deal? How do we sell the deal? How do we make money from it? Who benefits from it? So, but before we do that, I'm going to introduce you to Neil. Neil, I used to call him Neil Ward, but recently become married and he's decided to take on his partner's name as well. So Neil McCoy Ward. Neil, you online?
Yeah, I'm here, Ash. Yeah, I didn't have much choice with that. She insisted. She didn't want to lose her name, so there was the compromise.
Okay, great. So
So
just a little bit
go
about.
ahead, mate.
Hi Neil, are you still with me?
Yeah, got ya. Okay, I'll go straight into it.
Yeah.
Um, so I started in property in 2005, where I built up a small portfolio quite quickly up until 2008 when the crash happened. So I've still got properties in Coventry, houses and flats. So this is my 10th year now as a landlord. In terms of work history, I joined the British Army pretty much straight from school, so that was all I ever knew. Whilst in the Army, I was an entrepreneur. I had a lot of businesses on the side outside of the Army as well. I now own 7 businesses. They're all fairly successful businesses. I work as a marketing consultant, sales trainer. That's worldwide now as well. So my businesses are mainly in the property field, the majority of them, home improvements, sourcing businesses, property sales, lettings, room rentals, rent-to-rent portfolio. And I think most people know me for the rent-to-rent side of things, where I generated £10,000 a month. That's net profit after costs within my first year doing rent-to-rent. And that's how me and Ash got started running our rent-to-rent courses, which are now the biggest in the country, which has really shocked me that we now get 75 to 100 people on every course, which is incredible. And in terms of deal sourcing, which we're going to be talking about tonight, the reason Ash and I teamed up is because Ash is the expert in actually packaging and selling the deals, and I'm an expert in actually sourcing the deals. I can source so many deals, it's ridiculous. And I close on about 2 a month at the moment, purely because I only have 1 member of staff, do it on the side, and make very good money from it. So a lot of people always ask about, well, I'm full-time, fully employed, can I do it as well? Well, if I do it part-time for 3 or 4 hours a week, then I think anybody that's full-time can do it as well. I also just handed over entrepreneur in residence for Coventry University. So that's really quickly about me, because we want to really do a masterclass with you today. So.
Okay, so the one thing that we always ask on the start of all of our webinars is that we want to understand why you're here. Why do you want to get involved in property, and what's your reason why? So we've given you a few examples, as so you could be talking about health issues, finance problems. You want to escape the rat race, you want to become your own boss, you want to travel, you want to spend more time traveling, and you want to spend some time with the family. Now, they're the kind of the common responses that we get. In the far right-hand column, would you mind telling us why you're here? What do you want to achieve from this webinar, which allows us to cater the webinar according to the responses that we get? Okay, someone's put, straight out all of the above. Okay. So people say that they want to quit their time, spend more time with their family, resolve finance issues, create residual income, in addition to development projects. Okay. Okay, someone's put that they're currently sourcing, need to know how to best package the deals. Okay. Someone wants to know a legal way to make money on property. Okay. Leave a legacy, make a career, want to learn a new skill and earn a bit extra. Right, okay. Someone's put that they've got deals coming to them, not sure how to source on, haven't done it before full time. Now that's really interesting. Because people have got deals that are literally just handed to them, almost like, what's the best way to put it? A pot of gold. So we're going to be talking about how you can do it tonight. Okay, so we've got a lot of different reasons, but I suppose what you can probably almost say, Neil, what do you always think it's related to?
I think everything you can trace back to one thing, and that's happiness. Every time people will tell me, I want to get out of my job, I want to do this, I want to do that, but actually that's just, I always relate it like a fruit tree. That's the best way to describe it. What people say, they're usually talking about the tree branch or the bark or something like that, or the trunk. But actually, the fruits it's traced back to one key thing, and that's your happiness. When people say, I want to spend more time with my family, it's because you want to get closer to your family, you want to get those bonds back, you want more time, you want to relieve stress. Everything's all about happiness. And I know that money doesn't equal happiness, and this is a bit of an old cliche, you know, money doesn't buy happiness and all of that. But actually, when you haven't got any money and you're working a job that you don't enjoy, you're stressed all the time, it's very it's very difficult, sorry, to be happy. But if you've got money and you've got more time, you can outsource a lot of your business, you've got closer families, you're able to travel more, your health is good, your relationships are strong, everything in your life just aligns a lot better, and you just become so much more happy. And I feel that money does that for us, all of us. Yes, it's not the be all and end all, but it really does help in life. I've had this debate with a lot of people. It really does. It completely changed my life. I remember when I didn't have money and I was always stressed and I didn't want to go to work and I didn't want to do this. So that's really what I help people to do. It's to get us through earning more money in more of a passive way, and a way that's in flow with your core values.
Okay. Right. Okay. So before we start, have we got anyone online that was investing prior to 2006, which we call the heyday? And the reason why we say that is that prior to 2006, there was a lender out on the market, which everyone knows, called Mortgage Express, and they were one of the only lenders that would allow you to purchase a property and refinance it almost simultaneously. Now, most of the people that you speak to that was purchasing property in 2006 found that it was very easy to buy property. They could purchase a property providing it was below market value, have it valued on its have it valued on its true market value, which is the open market value, and refinance anything up to 85% of that at the same time that you're purchasing. Now, providing that you did it correctly, you could do it where you could leave no money in the deal, which meant that you could extract all your cash out of the property, so you left no deposit in, and everyone was purchasing property left, right, and centre, including myself. Now, I've still got a few properties that have got the Mortgage Express product. Mortgage Express, since the crash, have been trying to call in portfolios. So, luckily I'm not one that they haven't that they've tried to call in yet, but I've only got a small lending on my portfolio. So even if they did, I think I'd still be in a position where I'd be okay. So, Neil, what's Go Direct?
All right, so here we're gonna go straight into some sourcing strategies now, ladies and gentlemen. So if you've got your pens, your notebooks ready, then we're gonna go straight into it. If you haven't, quickly grab something now, and you can start writing these things down. So the first thing I always say is everything that everybody else says about sourcing, take that and throw it in the bin and just start from scratch. The number one thing that you want to do is you want to go direct to the sellers. So that can be landlords, it can be homeowners, businesses, whoever that owns the property. It's amazing the amount of property that's owned by businesses, and sometimes businesses fall on hard times, sometimes they're having cash flow issues, and you will have no idea about it. But just by making contact with them, it's amazing how they keep your letter on file for years to come. And then one day, when they're having cash flow issues, boom, they'll contact you and they'll sell you some property. So the key thing about going direct, and I'm going to give you a really key strategy here. Oftentimes you'll see houses that are up for sale, and if you use Rightmove and you use the Property B toolbar, which you get through the Firefox web browser, you can actually see when a property sells and then it falls through. So a lot of times someone will say, yes, I'll buy this house, and then 2 months later, for whatever reason, they pull out. Sometimes it might be on survey, other times they can't get the mortgage, or they have financial difficulties, and the property goes back on the market. That's strike one for the vendor. Because when that happens, straight away in their minds, they get fed up. They think, oh, 2 months and now I've got to start from scratch again. That's strike one. Strike two, later on, if the same thing happens again, and they're on the third attempt, that is where you've really hit a gold mine. That is the most targeted vendor you can possibly find. So the way I usually look for those people, I look out for the boards, and if I see sold, and then it comes up for sale again, or sold, then straight away I'm writing a letter to those people. Ash, your microphone's just going off a little bit there, making a bit of noise.
Okay.
So,
Just before you carry on,
yeah.
everyone online, can you still hear us correctly? I think one lady said that she couldn't hear us. Just making sure. Let's just check in with people. Yeah. Okay. Everyone's still saying that you can still hear us.
Okay, perfect. So here's what you need to write down. Number one, Firefox web browser. Number two, property B, that's BEE, toolbar. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to open up your Firefox, you're going to download that toolbar, and you're going to open up rightmove.co.uk. Now, within Rightmove, whenever you click on any property and you've got your property B toolbar activated, it will tell you the entire history of that property. It will show you every single amendment the agent has put on that property on Rightmove. It's absolutely fantastic spy tool. So straight away, agents, how often do they tell you the truth? Not very often, unless you're in fantastic rapport with them. And even then, they sometimes lie, even to me. So because they don't want you to get the deals from them really cheap. So here's what you do. You wait until you've seen a property that's sold, and then come back on the market, sold, come back on the market, and straight away you will then write a letter to the owners of that house. I'm going to tell you how you do that in a second. So the whole idea of writing a letter is those people see what you're offering, and you're just going to stack that letter with copy. So there's loads and loads of benefits in there, loads of benefits. And the whole idea of the letter is just for them to give you a call. And once they've given you a call, the whole idea of the call is just to get a meeting with them, just a coffee meeting, where you can then sit down and find out what is actually going on with your property, what are the problems. Okay, so you're getting all the problems, and then you can offer them solutions through your sourcing business and tell them how you work with investors, landlords who buy cash, properties for cash, and all they want is a little bit of a discount. Now, if that vendor is really motivated now, they will sell that property to you, no worries, but they've got to be motivated. And again, this is what I always talk about when I'm anywhere in the world working as a sales trainer. People say to me, oh, I can't sell this product won't sell. And I say, what pain are you actually solving? And they say, well, I don't know, but it does this, this, this. I said, no, don't keep telling me all the features. You've already told me that. What are the benefits? What is the pain that you're actually solving with your product or service? Most of the time they don't know. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're doing that with your sourcing business, you'll also won't know how to sell anything. There's got to be a pain there for that vendor in order for them to sell. So it's got to be a pain, or you've got to really stack those benefits in your favor so that they choose you over an agent. So with mine, I've been doing it so long now that it's all stacked up. I've got documents, I show them little brochures and everything, and there's no competition between using me or an agent every time. It's just so simple. So you're probably wondering now how you get the actual address of the house if they don't live there, for example, if it's a landlord. So this is the next thing to write down. You want to go onto land registry, I think it's .gov.uk, and you want to do a title search. That's T-I-T-L-E, title search. And you're going to actually search for that property on the land registry. What's going to happen next is this. It costs £3, but the land registry is going to send you the title deeds for that property, which is just a gold mine of information. You're going to find out if there's a mortgage on that property, who it's with. You're going to find out where the real owner lives, what their real name is, and you need to know all this because it's important when you're doing your planning and preparation. The amount of times I've had people come to me and they've said, Neil, I've got into trouble with this house, and I've done this deal. And these are not my students. These are people that are other people's, students or whatever, coming to me and saying, I'm in trouble with this. The first thing I do is download the title deeds, and I say, the person you've done this deal with doesn't even own the house. So that's why it's important to do all of that. Okay, I could talk all day on going direct and strategies, so I'm going to go on to another strategy. So if you go to the next slide, Ash. So here's strategy 2. This is your army of tradesmen. One thing I stumbled upon a little while back was this. I had tradesmen that I would call up and they'd say, oh yeah, I'm quiet at the minute, not much business going on. And just one day I said to one of my builders, do you know any houses at the minute that are sat empty, who either the landlord wants a guaranteed rent or that they just want to sell, or a homeowner that's struggling to sell? And he thought about it and then said, yeah, actually I do. I know a couple of people. And he said, why do you ask? I said, because if you can give me their details, I'll actually pay you, and whatever the amount was at the time, it's probably about £200 cash, straight away. When a tradesman is out of work and he's got no jobs on, do you think he or she, because a lot of tradesmen are women, do you think they will be motivated by £200, £300, £400 cash for just making a phone call to that owner of the property? Yes, more than likely. So that's what happened, and that's how I got my first couple of deals. It was through using tradesmen. Now the interesting thing with tradesmen is you have to motivate them. I've had people that said to me, Neil, the tradesman thing is not working for me. I've been trying it, it's not working. And I say to them, okay, let me see your stats, let me see what you've been doing. And they'll show me this fantastic document where they've written or called 100 tradesmen. And I'll say, that's fantastic, that is really, really good. Now, how often have you followed up with them? Now, the interesting thing is, nearly every time, the person would say to me, oh, well, I haven't followed up. Why would I follow up? I've already told them all about it. But that's not how tradesmen work. They don't think in that way. They're so busy trying to get business and running around doing work and doing a lot of time favors for people as well, that they're not thinking about your offer of £200, £300, £400 cash. That's not in the front of their mind. So that's why you've got to call them every week or two. I call mine every 2 weeks now. It used to be every week, but some of them were like, right, Neil, you're calling us a little bit too often. We'll let you know if anything comes up. And after a while, after 2 or 3 months, I'd say, you won't really need to call them that much anymore. Once a month, once every 6 weeks, because they'll actually call you with the deals. You've drummed it into their heads that hard now from calling them, that they'll actually call you. So I get calls every day now. Every single day, at least 2 or 3 calls with deals. And that's the position you want to get to. How much did that cost me? Absolutely nothing. It didn't cost me a penny to do any of that. So that's the army of tradesmen. And the great thing about it is you don't need to pay for marketing data, or you don't need to try and figure out where all these people are. Just pick up your local Yellow Pages or Thompson or whatever you've got in your area, and it will be full of tradesmen in there, absolutely full. You just work through the list, and work through one at a time, and make the offer to them. Now, here's the thing: you can just call them straight away. So just call through and make the offer straight away. But a lot of times it doesn't really work, and it's the same in anything with sales and negotiations. What you need to do is build a relationship with that person. Treat each person as an individual, not, hi, we're calling tradesmen in the areas because we want to make you an offer. Straight away, it's not personal. It's it's a generic offer to all tradesmen. So you want to make it more personal. So the thing that I did, and you'll want to do this anyway if you're in property, is, for example, I would call up 3 or 4 electricians, and I would get them round for a quote on some work. For example, hi, I'm looking to have a house rewired. Can you come and look and give your opinion, tell me what it costs? As soon as they're around, I'm making them a cup of tea, giving them a biscuit, getting to know them better, telling them about what I do, and then I'm telling them about my offer. So I'm telling them, this is what I pay out. Do you know anyone that might be interested? Straight away, they'll love it because it's new, it's unique, it's not something they'll have come across before. And they'll all say the same thing. Wow, that's really forward thinking. That's very entrepreneurial, and wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, and is that all I have to do? And I get £200-300 cash? Yeah, that's it. All you need to do is put us together. If the deal goes through, you'll get £300, £400 cash. They'll bite your hand off. Right, we've got to keep moving on. So I'll go on to the next one, but we could talk about that all day. Third one is your advertising. Now there's a whole industry around advertising now, but it's estimated that 95 to 97% of all advertising is wasted. It's insane. The people that are in the advertising are making a fortune from it, but it's very rare because, I'm not an advertising expert, but I've studied advertising to quite a high level, and I've had private sessions with advertising gurus, so I know a fair bit about it. And really, the one thing that I've noticed about advertising is the most effective adverts are the ones with the least amount of text, the least amount of images and craziness on there. The way I always do my adverts, and I advertise all over the place now, the way I always do it is this. Someone once said to me, who was a guru in advertising, if someone can't get your advert in 3 seconds, then it's wasted. So that's it, 3 seconds, a 3-second rule. So what I always do now is I create a really simple advert, very strong colours and big headline with some bullet points, and that's it. And with a call to action at the bottom, call now on this number. I've stopped putting websites and all of that sort of stuff on, because really where we excel and where we sell to people is over the phone or face-to-face in person. That's where you do your selling. That's where you do your real business, when you're sat and you're looking at someone face-to-face. If someone goes to your website, look, it's a lost lead in most cases. 1 in 10 might call you, but the majority will look at it. They'll say, this looks fantastic. I'm really interested in this, but being interested in something is just not good enough. You need them to actually call through to your phone. So some of the best places to advertise, and again, is if you've got the budget. The best one that I've found by far is a billboard, side of the road billboard. So if you get yourself a good deal, you can pay a couple £100 for one of the big billboards for a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, for a couple £100. It's worth it because you'll get a lot of leads from it. Then you have things like wrapping, so vehicle wrapping. One of the things that I'm about to do soon is to buy a box van. Now the great thing about box vans are that they're almost the size of a billboard, and you can put anything you want on the side, and you can drive it any way you want, park it any way you want on a public road, and no one can tell you to move it. A box van. And there was a guy who's no longer really doing this big time now, but he was a very good sourcer, and he would source over 150 deals a week in London by parking his vans all over London. So that is where you're in the millionaire league, when you're sourcing that sort of amount of deals. So there's another one for you. The main one where I get most of my leads is in the local paper. Not the paid paper, the free paper is where I advertise. A, it's very low cost, and B, I can get huge advert, full double spread if I want, for a very, very low cost. You're talking £100, £200 for a double spread in a free paper. It's so low cost, and that's one of the best places that I've found for advertising. So let's go on to number 3, Ash. Or number 4, sorry. So this will be the last one we're going to talk on. That is quite funny, because that's the exact scene that I saw, except for probably 5 times that, when I went into a property that I got through a lead. It wasn't through a leaflet, it was through a phone call. And I opened the door. We actually couldn't even get the front door open. There were so many leaflets there for the last 5 years, we couldn't open the door. In the end, I had to climb through this tiny window, and I got my suit covered in dust and everything, but it was worth it because that deal made me a lot of money. So we're going to talk about leaflets now. Again, the majority of leaflets I get through my door are absolutely rubbish. They would never, ever in a million years get me to pick up the phone and call them. And the more text you have on your leaflet, the less likely that someone is going to call you. It's very, very unlikely. The more text, the less likely they'll call. The main things to have on your leaflets are a strong headline, a strong sub-headline, 5 or 6 bullet points with the benefits of your service, and then a strong call to action. So a strong call to action is something like, we only have X number available, call now, for example. And then there's your phone number. So mobile number and a landline. And if you don't have a landline, don't worry about it. You can actually get virtual landlines for pence. They cost pennies these days. What you've got to remember is make sure it's a local number. So that's your leafleting. You need to make sure you drop at least 10,000 leaflets to get a good spread. I hear people saying all the time, oh, 500 leaflets, 1,000 leaflets. You're not going to get any sort of response from those sort of numbers. You need to be printing 10,000 off and dropping 10,000 on a targeted area. And then you want to be following up and dropping again every 4 to 6 weeks. The exact same leaflet, the exact same branding and colors and text every 4 to 6 weeks, because people are going to see it over and over again. If you have a car that's wrapped with your message as well, they're going to see that. If you've got an advert in the paper, they're going to see that. That's what it's all about. It's about getting eyes on your business all the time, on your advertising, on your marketing, and eventually someone will call. You might get someone 6 months down the line who keeps seeing your leaflets, keep having these things. It's really funny. I've had people that have said to me a year on, I said, how did you hear about us? Oh, it was a leaflet. It's a yellow leaflet. And I thought to myself, I haven't done yellow leaflets in over a year. And then they'll go to their kitchen drawer and pull out these 3 or 4 yellow leaflets. And I think, wow. So that's why, if you drop a leaflet or do a big leaflet drop, it's never wasted. People will put them in their drawer, especially older people where they're worried that, okay, one day I'm going to have to go into a home and things like that. And, they want to have as much security as possible. So I found that as well. A lot of elderly people love this service, and usually I work with their children as well, which is great. So the children love it. They, the parents go into a home, etc. It's, you're really helping people with this. That's the key to it. It's, if you're not passionate about helping people, you'll struggle in this business. You really will. But if you're passionate about helping people and you want to solve problems, that's all you've got to do. Just write that down. Problem solving, problem solving, problem solving. If you just think like that every day, day in, day out, you will make ridiculous money in this business. I mean, it's just crazy the amount of money just from one house, just helping people, putting a landlord or an investor together with someone that needs to sell a house. You don't even have to, you're just the middleman. You don't even have to do a lot of work. It just takes a little bit of creativity. That's all it is. Ash, I'm going to pass you over now. I've covered my bit on marketing. I know it was a whirlwind that we went through just there, but hopefully you had your notebook and pen. You were able to write all that down.
Right, okay. Brilliant. I'm hoping that you really enjoyed that, because Neil gave away a hell of a lot of information there. Neil, if you don't mind, just so that we don't get any feedback, I'm just going to mute you for the meanwhile, because I think people think that when both of our microphones on, we're getting quite a bit of feedback. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, right. Now, just quickly touching on a couple of things that Neil said there, and because he's first thing, Neil, someone said, can we see a copy of Neil's leaflet? I'll see if we can arrange that. We won't be able to do it on the webinar. But yeah. Now, one thing that I've done, and I've done really well, I've been sourcing properties now for well in excess of 15 years. So there's nothing that you can tell me really about this strategy. Over 15 years, I've probably sourced thousands of properties, because at one point we were purchasing and we were sourcing 30 properties a month for near enough 4 or 5 years. Now, if you think about that from a numbers point of view, that's a lot of properties to source. So one thing that I do, Neil touched upon about newspapers. One thing that I did is that when we did deals, we did testimonials and we put those in the paper. And people like reading a feel-good factor story. The fact that you've helped someone, the fact that you're a problem solver is a real good way about doing it. So we're going to keep moving on. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you some of these are some of the deals that I've done recently. When I say recently, within the last 3 months, I'm currently sourcing around 15 properties a month, between 10 and 15. Now, here's one that I did. So, believe it or not, when Neil talks about his army of tradespeople, I extend that slightly further. So I talk to architects, I talk to solicitors, I talk to accountants, I talk to dentists, because all these people know someone that are potentially either looking to sell or are in a situation where they need to sell. Now, here's a scenario that my architect bought me. You can tell it was my architect because he's the person that did the drawings. He went out and he met this vendor. Vendor had a piece of land, didn't know what to do with it, didn't want to build it. And so my architect did the drawings and he started talking to. As Neil said, that I incentivized my architect, saying that as you come across something, if the vendor isn't sure whether they're going to build it or something, how about if you put them in contact with me? For everything that I buy, the architect gets £500. If it's a juicy deal like this, I'll give the architect £1,000. Now think about it, an architect is in contact with property people every single day of the week, whether it be small individuals like this that have got a single plot of land, going to large companies that have got multi-million-pound properties. So here's one where single chap, he's getting on a bit, he's knocking on into his 70s, and he wanted to go and retire in Thailand. And he had this piece of land where the architect had managed to get him planning permission for 6 2-bedroom apartments. Now, each apartment, if they were built, would be circa around £90,000, which means that the site as itself would be worth circa £540,000 if it was completely built. So that's the GDV, which stands for gross development value. Now, as a site, that would be worth well in excess, well, should I say, well in excess of £150,000. But we did a deal at 87. That's right. We agreed to purchase that property or that piece of land, £87,000, on the basis that it was a quick turnaround. Now, some of you may be thinking that actually I haven't got £87,000, and the reality is that you don't need £87,000. All I did is I agreed the deal and I sold it to my investor. Now, every one of you that's sitting on this webinar and listening to this webinar has the opportunity to work with me and Neil, where if you get a lead, you can bring it to us, we can package it for you and sell it for you on that basis, and that will be a JV partnership. So with this one, we agreed the deal at 87,000 and we sold the deal at 110,000. In actual fact, my figures are wrong here, making 23,000, not 13,000, 23,000 from a deal that I don't own. I've simply sourced, I've packaged in the correct manner, and we sold the deal. Classified as a back-to-back transaction, no money left my bank account. All I did is I found the deal and then I found the purchaser. We put them together and we made a handsome fee in the centre. Now here's a second one. Here's a property investor. He actually, this one was a strange one actually, because I don't think this one should have ever been sold. A property investor from London bought a mid-terrace property, which is a red property in the centre, and he came to me and said, "Arsh, I want you to build me a 4-bed HMO. But the way that I do it is that I make sure that all bills are fully exclusive. So the tenants have to pay for council tax, tenants have to pay for electricity, and there's no gas in the building, and the water rates." So I built it for him. So he with this one, he bought the property for 30,000. He spent some money on a refurb, and he goes, "Now I've bought a much bigger property up in Stoke. I need the money out of this in order for him to go off and do his new project." I suggested that he should have refinanced it, because after doing the work to it, the property was generating 20,800 a year, which is quite a lot of money for a 4-bed HMO. So I said to him, let's refinance it on its commercial valuation, and this would have valued at £200,000. Unfortunately, with commercial finance, it takes quite a while to do, and he needed the money within 4 weeks. So I agreed to sell this deal onto an investor in my database, and we sold it for £108,000, having agreed to purchase the property off my investor for 95,000, which means that we made £13,000 on this one property. Now the property alone, when he bought it for 55,000. So he still made money. I made money, and everyone makes money. The investor that bought it makes money because he's now got a very nice asset which produces £20,800 per annum. Now, this is probably going to be one of the better ones that I've done throughout my timescale in property. It's in Liverpool, and it's one that we've only agreed a couple of weeks ago, so this is still fresh off the press. It's a property in Anfield, and it's a property where you got a shop on the ground floor, and you got four flats above it, and we also have to walk down the side street to get access to the flats. And it's currently producing £27,100. We agreed to purchase the property off the vendor at £70,000, and we sold it immediately. This took a best part of about an hour to sell, just because the income is so great against the purchase price. When I say the time taken has been 7 days, the only reason I say time taken is because I personally took the investor up to Liverpool to view the property. I wanted him to make sure that he knew exactly what he was buying, how he was buying it, how we were structuring the deal, and how we moved it forward. So on the basis of that, it's currently in legals, but I've already taken my £40,000 sourcing fee out the centre. Yeah, that's right, you've heard me correct. I charged the investor £40,000 to see the deal. When I say see the deal, he would never have seen this deal otherwise. It was completely off market. The only person that had access to it was me. On a commercial valuation, this property would be worth £270,000. I could have possibly got a little bit more for this property. The fact is, I made one call. We sold it within one call. We made £40,000 within one call. And I only had to take him up to Liverpool once. He loved it. It was exactly what I said it was on the tin. And we moved forward with it. Now, just for those that are on the line, does anyone think that this is out of their zone, or are you unable to do this? Sorry if I sound a bit croaky. I'm still, believe it or not, I'm Muslim, so I'm fasting. So I haven't eaten since 9:30 last night, and I won't eat until 9:30 tonight. So I am a little bit croaky. I am a little bit thirsty, but nevertheless, that tells you my sheer determination to do deals. So people said, I can definitely do this. I like that. How do you find the investors? I can do it. Sounds good. Sounds like a very good deal. Now, when persons say that I cannot do this, that really upsets me, because everyone has got the ability to do it. You just need to know how to do it. Now, someone's put on, it's quite an important question here. Do you let the investors know that you're selling it to, and the sellers speak to one another, or is everything solely done through solicitors? The investor and the purchaser never actually speak. The transaction is all done through solicitors and through you or me as the intermediary. So let's keep moving forward. I'm just going to quickly go quiet, and I'm going to introduce Neil back onto it so that Neil can talk to you about this.
Okay, Ash, can you hear me again?
Yes,
Ash, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Neil. I'm going to unmute myself so we don't get the feedback.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm back in the room. So how much does a property deal sell for? This is the interesting thing. Whenever I'm talking to people, most people I speak to are way off. They have no idea. And I've ruined the surprise a little bit because everything's on screen there for you. So let's just whiz through this. The average deal, so this is just, an average deal, nothing amazing and not a bad deal, sells for £5,000 each. That's it, £5,000. It's a lot of money for one deal. A small house or a flat, for example, £3,000, and that's about as low as a fee goes. It doesn't really go any lower than that. And then when you get onto the larger houses or HMOs, HMO, for anyone that doesn't know, is a house of multiple occupancy. So that's where you actually rent out a house by the room, therefore creating more profit. Those deals sell for between £5,000 and £8,000 on average. And then when you get into the large HMO, so by large I mean 8 bedrooms upwards, or commercial buildings, they start at about £10,000 for those sort of deals, and people will pay that all day long. And then plots of land, this is where you get into the big money, especially if you're dealing with big national companies. They will pay very, very big money for a plot of land. I've seen deals, not my own, unfortunately, but I've seen deals go for £50,000, £60,000 before as a sourcing fee on a plot of land, which is just, I'm sure I'll get one day, and that'll be nice, a nice £50,000 in the pocket for one plot of land. I've not got there quite yet. So Ash, next slide. So the next question people ask is, why would people buy these deals from me though? It might be in your mind right now. Why would anyone actually buy these deals? I don't get it. Why wouldn't they go to an estate agent or just buy it themselves? Well, here's a few reasons. Number one, the investors that are out there are always looking for deals, and the majority of them are your average middle-age, average job type person, and they won't really understand and they won't really know much about investing like you or I may do, who know a fair bit about property. They will know very, very little about property, and most people's knowledge goes as far as find a property, buy it, rent it out. That's it. Not many people know the sort of advanced stuff involved with property. So you've got to think, what's a good ROI? Ash, your mouse is going all over the slide, by the way, just to let you know. So you've got to think, what's a good ROI to someone like that? What are the banks paying? What sort of interest rates are they paying? Well, on average, you're talking a couple of percent at the moment. The people who have got their money in savings and things like that, they're lucky if they're getting a few percent, 4%. I don't know what savings rates are at the moment, but they're not very good at all. If you could offer someone, let's say, a 7 or an 8% return on investment, and it was guaranteed through a property deal, do you think they would bite your hand off at that? If you're still thinking no, then let's add another layer to this. What if you found a house that was, say, £100,000 market value, but the vendors have been messed around so much that they just wanted to get rid of it? They just said, look, we'll take £70,000, £75,000, whatever it is. Even if they said that £75,000 and you thought, well, I'd like to keep some of that money as well, and you offered it to an investor at, let's say, £85,000. So A, you're showing them the return on investment they're going to get. B, you're showing them that they're going to get a £15,000 discount on the property. Do you think they might bite your hand off now? You're starting to get this, how this all works. And then you get to keep whatever's in the middle, 5, 10 grand, whatever whatever you want to pocket from it. Because a lot of investors as well, they haven't got pension pots. You hear this a lot now. People's pensions have gone. They thought they had a pension, or they thought they were getting a certain amount of money, but through bad investments and greed and whatever else in the banking sector, a lot of pensions have now disappeared. So this is a pension for people as well. So they are, for me, some of the main reasons that it's so easy to sell these deals. Like Arsh, it's very rare that I'll have a deal that will sit for longer than a few days. Usually within the first couple of hours when the deal is put out, there's a dozen people interested straight away. It really is fairly simple. As long as the deal is good, the return is good on it, the price is right, you will sell it every time. No worries at all. Arsh? Do you want me to carry on? Do you want to take this?
Okay, Neil, do you want to do this part?
Yeah, I'll go for it as well. So the reason Arsh and I teamed up, as I said, we have complementary skills. My main skills are in marketing and sales. That's what people know me for. That's what my businesses are in. That's what I talk all around the world on negotiations and marketing skills. The other thing I do very well is build systemized businesses. So whereas most people might take a year or two to get a business up and running and breaking even, for me it's usually only 5 or 6 months, purely because I've got a lot of experience as an entrepreneur and setting up lots of businesses. I'm very open about it. Some of my businesses have worked out, some of them haven't. Some of them have been fantastic and made me a very lot of money. Others haven't. It's just the way it is in business. But what I will say is the last few years, I've not had any businesses that haven't worked out. A few years back, 5 or 6 years, it might be 1 in 3 would work. The other 2 might not work. So some of the things I've learned are, firstly, what you need to know is the legalities. You've always got to make sure you're fully legal on whatever business you do. Because even if you make a lot of money from your business, you can be wiped out very quickly if your legal contracts are not watertight. So you've got to have a good solicitor and you've got to have the right contracts in order to do this. The next thing is, as I said at the beginning, about title searches, is research, research, research. You've got to do your planning and preparation. You've got to do your research on such a high level. You've just got to be researching all the time, becoming an expert in your area. You've got to know more than the estate agents, which in a lot of cases isn't too difficult when you look at who is in the estate agency. 19, 20-year-old who are earning very little money. I found out actually a girl I was talking to the other day who came across really confidently. She earns £400 a month as an estate agent, as a trainee. That's for a year, £400 a month. And I said, what about the other 3 people in here? Oh, they're trainees as well. There was only one person running that agency. Just blew my mind. So it's not difficult to become the expert in your area when you're up against things like that. Your business presence is key. In terms of your business presence, everything has got to be branded correctly. None of this you know, ugly. Well, you can do it if you want. You want to do the ugly marketing, go for it. But I found that for me, I'm constantly just churning. It's like a machine. If when I'm doing the ugly marketing, I'm always fighting for more deals, and I've got to put this ugly marketing out again. I've got to keep going with it. Whereas if I've got a marketing machine that's just flowing nicely with my branding and my marketing all the time, comes across very professionally, regularly, day in, day out, eventually the word gets around and people will call you. And you don't always have to do the deal on the day. Sometimes you'll go and you'll think, you know what, this is a good deal for me, but it's not a good deal for the vendor right now. So you'll leave them with, if the next sale that you're talking about doesn't go through, or you're getting bad feelings about it, please call me and then we will do the deal. So it's about being honorable as well and helping people. And you'll find that so much more business will flow back to you. Point 4 is leads. Leads are the lifeblood of your business. If you haven't got masses and masses of leads coming in all the time to you, then you're going to struggle. Without leads, there is no business, because without a lead, you can't convert that lead into business. So leads are key, and that's what we talked about earlier on in terms of sourcing. So we did the leaflets and the advertising and the tradesmen, you know, all these little things. Your next thing is the investors database. Now, this is the tricky bit. This is the one bit that's quite tricky. And purely for that reason, we do teach it. We do teach you how to do this. But we found that most people just don't want to build the database. So what Arsh and I have done is we've said, look, if you don't want to build a database, you can just JV with us. We will actually sell those leads for you. And it brings you on to the next point, and the final point here is pitching. Without your leads, you're not going to be able to pitch. But here's the other thing. If you don't know how to actually present effectively, you don't know how to communicate effectively, you don't understand negotiations, again, you're going to struggle. I'm just being upfront with you. I wouldn't want anyone to, come and learn from us in more detail and then get stuck here. So this is why I'm very upfront about it. So again, we've solved this challenge through the joint venture, through the JV, in that I will negotiate any tricky deals, or if you want to get a lower figure or you want more value from it, whatever it is you want to do, I'll actually negotiate that deal on your behalf. So we really feel now that we've just got the ultimate package. It's very difficult to compete with this. We feel now this joint venture agreement that we're going to be offering to a few people at the end. Ash?
Okay.
Okay.
Turn Neil off. Okay, remember what Neil said. When you pitch to someone, when someone picks up your leaflet, you've got approximately 3 seconds to tell them exactly what you do. Now, when you look at my shop front, which is my office, which I've got in Wolverhampton, the company name says "We buy properties fast." What do you think we do? And when you look at that, what does it tell you that we do? I set up this office in the year 2000, and we're on a high street location in Wolverhampton. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go out and set out high street presence, but I was one of the first companies in the UK. I was one of the first companies in the Midlands, especially, to set up a high street presence. So now, to set me aside from my competition, in my local paper, there was approximately 30 people every week advertising, saying, "Yeah, we can buy your property. We can buy your property." Now, what I started to do is I started to put pictures of my shops and said, "Well, why would you call a man who's working from home from a mobile phone when you could come and sit with me in my office? Let's talk about what your issues are. Let's talk about your problems. Let's see how we can resolve them." And back in 2000 to 2006, we were actually purchasing 30 properties a month. And someone's just said to me that my website's just gone down, so I'll have a look at that in a second. But we do so much more business on a face-to-face transaction. No, I appreciate that. It all sounds easy enough, but where can you learn about this stuff? And we're not here to do a massive pitch or anything like that. All we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving you the opportunity as to come and learn exactly what we've said on this webinar tonight. How to find the deals, how to negotiate the deals, how to sell the deals, how to make money, and more importantly, how to make it into a business. And the beauty of it is that how would you like the opportunity to JV with us? Now, I'm going to be saying that today, and I don't mind saying this, is that today I've had a few people that have been on previous courses come and sit with me in my office, and so they've done this after the course. And so what I've done is I've sent them out into Wolverhampton, God forbid, and they've managed to come back alive. But they've come back and shown me photos of lots of abandoned properties. Now, I've told them what to do, how to go and locate them, and we've managed to almost negotiate deals with 4 or 5 different abandoned property owners. We've had to search for that to find them, we've located them, and now we're on the process of doing deals. You can do this too. Now, we're holding a course, it's a deal sourcing weekend workshop on the 3rd and 4th of July. I think I'm just going to make sure that those dates are correct. And it is held in the Midlands, so it's going to be held in Walsall. It's actually the 4th and 5th of July, apologies, and it's at the Village de Vere in Birmingham, in Walsall. So it is in Birmingham, in Walsall, which is junction 10 of the M6, very easy to get to. And what we'll be doing is over the 2 days, we'll be splitting it into 2 different segments. First day on July the 4th, which is the Saturday, we'll be looking at the 10 most effective strategies. And we'll be looking at which are the most profitable. From all kinds of strategies, from posh sourcing strategies right through to the dog rough sourcing strategies. When we talk about dog rough, we're talking about the ugly marketing. And you decide which one's right for you. We just look at exactly how to effectively copyright your adverts to make sure that when you're putting the adverts out, they're getting perceived in the correct manner. More importantly, and this is a big plus, you get to take away with you all our adverts and leaflets and all the stuff that we've done in the media, saving you hundreds of hours of work. We also teach you how to negotiate the deal. And what we do on the day, we do a lot of one-to-one role play. So you'll act as the vendor, Neil will act as a negotiator, and we'll be seeing how you perform under pressure, or more importantly, how Neil performs under pressure. Neil's got to try and purchase that property off you. You be as stubborn as you like, and we'll see how Neil managed to negotiate around it. We'll be talking about the contracts. I'm trying to actually, at the moment, persuade my solicitor who does all my contracts for me to come in on the weekend. He's currently told me that he's got a family commitment, but I'll make sure that I have a team of 3 solicitors, so I want to make sure that we get one of them in. He'll be talking to you about the contracts, which contract to use, how to use it, which one will be best for the scenario, and we'll be going through lots of scenarios and so much more. I'll be talking to you about how to build up an investor database, and more importantly, how to pitch the deals to that investor database so that it works. And this will go back to the copywriting, talking to you about how to make it look attractive in the eyes of an investor. We'll also be talking to you about how to work with estate agents, how for them to take you seriously, how to get them calling you with deals. More importantly, looking at commercial agents and so much more. On this Sunday, we'll be talking about how to actually turn it into a business. Now, it's all very well getting all the leads, but how to systemize it so that people take you seriously, how to build your website, how to work with the templates to use, how to create a highly responsive video that generates your leads, how to use social media forums and social media platforms to your advantage. Now, I've bought so many properties of social media forums, people have pitched it out there, didn't really pitch it right. I saw an angle in there, and we've bought it as a result, and I've sent it straight back out as a result. Now, the key to anything is the team that you've got around you. Now, you may be thinking, well, I'm sitting here by myself. I don't really have a team. Well, we'll be looking at how to build a team. Not saying that you have to go and directly employ them, but we'll be talking about how to build a business and build your team so that you're recruiting the right people for this business, making it, whether you look at self-employment, whether you're looking at taking them on work contracts, etc., etc. But more importantly, we're going to be looking at the tax efficiency side of the business as well. Now, property tax specialist Simon Masivich will be doing an hour-long presentation. I think he'll be live streaming it that day, so you can get to ask him all kinds of questions. So we'll be looking at stuff like profit and loss, forecasting, how to set up a virtual office space so that you don't look like a one-man band operating off a mobile phone, how to use your trade connections to build a small business, a small home improvements company, and make additional revenue. And we'll be looking at the big thing, which is the exit plan. With every great business, you must have your exit plan at the start, and so much more. Now, I'm just going to pass you on to Neil, as I'm struggling to breathe, and hopefully he's just going to tell you a little bit more about the day. Neil, you with us?
I'm muted. Okay.
Neil, you with us?
Yeah, that was great, Ash. Yeah, you really covered that in detail, so that's fantastic. These pictures here actually were from a course a while back. Now, you can see in the background on the first image there, that's Channel 4 actually filming the event. So they actually filmed this. You know, they wanted to know exactly how we were doing what we were doing. So that was that event. And you can see all the people in the second image there. It was a big event. Now, if you go to the next slide, Ash, I will just say we're no longer doing these events of this size. Every time we have an event, there's a waiting list, and people are always, you know, it's a bit of a nightmare. Fire regulations only allow us 75 people in the room because we use the same room each time at the De Vere. So what we've done now is we've decided that we're going to actually do smaller groups, because for rent-to-rent, sales, negotiations, the marketing courses, all these other things, it's absolutely fantastic when you've got loads and loads of people, because the dynamic and the energy in the room is incredible, and people just say it's the best course they've ever attended in their life. So this is what we've done for the deal sourcing and the business course. When it comes to a deal sourcing and business course, it's not the same. You don't want that same high energy craziness in the room, because it's a little bit more intense in terms of focus. You need to really build what you want for yourself from that day. So we're not doing the huge courses like this anymore. Ash, if you go to next slide, we're actually only doing 20 places per course now. That's just stay there, Ash. That's fine. We're actually only doing 20 places per course, and as you probably know, this is the first webinar we've done. We haven't done, we've not marketed this or advertised it, but already I think we've got 16 seats booked, and that's not even from advertising. So we'll tell you if you're interested in getting some of those last few seats, how to do that at the end of the webinar. But I'll just cover a couple more bits. Now, this is what you also get. You get a plethora of so many documents. So you get these mind maps that I create. Now, what you find is that I'd say the majority of people in life are visual learners. So again, I'll talk about learning styles, experiential, accelerated learning on the day in terms of business as well, and a lot of psychology. But in terms of most people are visual learners. So what I developed was these mind maps for you. So instead of having huge lists and lists and lists that you've got to work off, and how do I source here, how do I source there, how do I market here and package there, what I created was these mind maps. So all you do is you look to the branch, and one will be, say, online marketing, one will be direct marketing, one will be this, one will be that. And that's what you're doing. You're looking at the different options and the different sourcing strategies. And if you're a visual learner, you'll just look through this. And it's really funny. I had one guy who said, Neil, I've done everything on your mind map. I don't know why he was telling me, probably just trying to impress people, but saying, oh, I've done it all, I've done all this stuff. And you know what? I've not even done all this stuff from these mind maps. I've probably done a quarter of it because it's so in-depth and intense that it's just not possible. It would take years to get through this entire mind map. So anyone that's thinking, well, what if I'm not successful or I'm not able to source enough? Believe me, that would not happen with these mind maps. I guarantee it. You would never run out of sourcing materials and locations. So next slide, Ash. I'll let Ash talk about this because this is his document that he's going to give you as well.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks for that, Neil. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is that for this course, I'm going to be giving you all the documents that we use on a day-to-day basis. And these are documents that I've spent thousands of pounds in legal fees in creating. We'll be using the mind maps. We'll be giving you all the documents that I use on a day-to-day basis, even for letting my properties. So these are things that, and I've generated these all on a USB called the Key to Success. So that's going to be yours too. Now, tonight, there's no hard sell on tonight because we're already quite tight on numbers. So we're going to give people the opportunity to take action tonight. Now, for people that book tonight and pay for the course in the next 24 hours, and book it tonight, you'll get the following. You're going to get 1 day of deal sourcing training, 1 day of business building training, the sourcing contracts, all the legal documents and the template letters and adverts that we use, the Key to Success USB. You get the meals that we provide on all the days. So you get your refreshments, you get all your meals. Then you get a membership to the secret support group. Now, actually, in actual fact, we haven't talked about this because on Facebook, we've actually got a group dedicated to people who come on the course, and then we put them in the group so that the learning continues. It never stops just the moment that you leave that workshop. If you get stuck after the course, all you got to do is go into the forum, ask a question, and the 200 plus people that are already on it may answer it, or if not, me and Neil we log in every day to make sure that we answer calls. Now, after the course, if you're a little bit unsure of something that Neil may have said on the workshop, you get to have a one-on-one call with Neil, as well as lifetime support through the forum. Now, that pretty much is priceless, but in actual fact, it's well in excess of £5,000 worth of benefits. But remember, we've only got 4 seats left. It's the 4th and 5th of July, and you have the opportunity to JV with us. I will personally try and sell your deals through my database. Neil will assist in the negotiations. All you have to do is bring us a deal. We'll pretty much do the rest for you. Now, for a special only, it's $597 for the whole weekend. That's correct. You've heard it right. $597 for the whole weekend. But that's not all. Because just for tonight, if you want to bring a partner with you, you can bring them for an extra £97 for the whole weekend. That's right. You're reading it correct. So you can bring a business partner or a marital partner with you for additional £97. So $597 plus $97. So you may be asking, why is the cost so low? What's the catch? Well, the actual fact is that we believe in fair pricing. We don't think you should be paying £1,200 to £1,500 for a course. We think that we keep the cost low. We give you content-rich courses, and that's why people keep coming back on our other courses too. We get many people ask the question, can they attend just the 1 day? Yeah, you can come on the 1 day, and it's $397 just for the 1 day. And again, you can bring a business partner for that 1 day, whether it be the Saturday or the Sunday, for additional £97 as well. But you'll get the most value and the most benefit by attending both days. And you can book all the deals specifically on the website, which is arshilahi.com/events/deal sourcing. And if you look on the right hand side, it'll give you two different options: to buy it for yourself, to buy it for you and a partner, and also to buy it for the weekend for you and your partner. More importantly, you can even book the hotel rooms from my website as well. Now, when you look at a return investment, actually, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pass you over to Neil for this. Neil?
I'm muted. Neil? Yeah, I'm back. You know what, Ash, I was just thinking? How do you feel about instead of charging the extra £100 a guest, if we just say that people can bring a guest completely free?
Are you sure about that?
Are you sure about that? Let's do it. Free place.
Okay, so for tonight, what we're going to Okay, Neil, I'll tell you what, I'm getting you.
Yeah, I'll just mute yourself. I'll carry on. So, okay, I think that's what we're going to do. So if you want to come on it, you want one of those last four places, you can have that and you don't need to pay the extra £97. If you book on tonight, you can, two of you, so you, your business partner, your friend, your property manager, I don't know, whoever it is that you want to work with, you can bring them free of charge. So if it's a friend, you can even split it, so you're paying less than £300 for an entire weekend of business training and sourcing. So I think that's what we'll go firm with. Now, a lot of people always ask about the return on investment of a course like this. Well, here's the interesting thing. Just the lowest possible deal you could possibly source, just a tiny flat or something like that, would make you £3,000. So the course would be 20% of your first deal. That's ridiculous. I don't know what that is, 500% return on your first deal. Actually, it's on the slide there. So where else can you get a deal like that, a return like that? I don't know anywhere that you can get 5 times the return from one small flat. So Ash, next slide. So there's the details, ladies and gentlemen. If you are interested, you need to go there to the events tab, deal sourcing, and book that place. It will close down once those last 4. Ash, I'm not sure if you got it set to 4 or 6, but it will close down once those few places have been reserved. If you're unsuccessful reserving your place, please just send me or Ash a message via Facebook, and we'll add you to the waiting list, or we'll put you onto the next course, which will unfortunately be later in the year now, as we don't run these courses very often. So if you are unsuccessful booking your place, please send me or Ash a message to go on the waiting list, or we will just see if anyone will just confirm the other people that want to attend. And if anyone drops out or anything like that, you will be the first on. So next slide, Ash.
Neil, sorry, I added this in last.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where that came from.
Okay, so for those that know or have been on social media recently, I've only just recently launched a book. Well, it's in the process of being printed as we speak. It's called Boom, Bust and Back Again, a Property Investor's Survival Guide. For those that know me, the reason why I decided to go and write a book is because earlier this year I lost my father to cancer. And I'd been writing this book for nearly 2 years and I just couldn't get it finished. And in March, when he passed away, I decided, yeah, I need to get this finished. I need to get my story out there. And what it is, it's a story about 2 brothers, me and Aki, who have been in property a long time. And we've seen it all. Well, when I say we've seen it all, we've made a hell of a lot of money and we've lost a hell of a lot of money. So we've seen the boom times. We actually nearly went bust in 2006. But we lost approximately £8 million worth of personal wealth, but we've managed to build it back up again. And it's a compelling read. More importantly, I give you tips and hints as to what to do and what to avoid, talking about lots of different strategies, including the deal sourcing strategy, including the rent-to-rent strategy, including the HMO strategy, and a few others. So if you like the thought of that and you want to read that book, more importantly, all the profit that we make off the launch will be going specifically to cancer, Macmillan Cancer, because they were fantastic for my father whilst he's being diagnosed. So if you like that, please go on my website and reserve the book. I think it's £9.99 plus P&P. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's around £9.99. So yeah, it's arshalahi.com/book. Now finally, me and Neil are one of the very few people that at the end of a webinar will give out our mobile numbers. So if you've got questions, you need some further clarification, come and speak to us. So you've got Neil's number, and you've got all of Neil's website addresses there. You can find him on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. Alternatively, you can come and speak to me direct. My mobile, that's my personal mobile number. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, as well as Facebook. Now, I hope we've brought you quite a bit of value there. So hopefully you would have heard a lot, and hopefully you'll want to go off and do this strategy. We want to be a part of that journey for you. The only person that now is stopping you from doing that is you. Now, remember at the start we talked about all the things that you'd like to do. We're presenting you with an opportunity as to what you can do and how you can do it, but more importantly, how you can make a lot of money from it, which will fuel the things that you talked about at the start. Now, I think we've still got a few minutes for some questions, so I'm going to leave Neil unmuted for a short while. And let's see what some of the questions have been. Now, someone's put, do you need a license to do this? No, you will need to be registered with a few property bodies. And so people like the Office of Fair Trading, the Property Ombudsman, as well as the FCA. So that's one of the questions. People say, how do we JV with you? Ideally, we will only JV with people who have been on the workshop, purely because we want to make sure that the guys that come on the workshop get our attention and not just the mass public. And that's me just being completely loyal to the guys that have invested in us, and we'll invest our time back into them. So I'm just quickly going to go. Okay, so people saying, how do you find the investors? Remember, what we're going to be talking about on the weekend, we're going to be talking about how to build the investor database, how to find your own investors. So you don't necessarily have to use our investors. But the one thing that I'll say is that it's taken me the best part of 15 years to build a database of 40,000 investors. Now, when they say something about, the convenience, I'm giving you the convenience to use our database. I'll be teaching about how to build your database and how to fine tune it. But in the meanwhile, whilst you're building that, you can use ours. Okay. Just quickly going through the rest of the questions. Okay. Someone said, what's ugly marketing? Ugly marketing in a very in its very basic form is the yellow Corex boards where you've got the black handwriting, I will buy your property, you've got a lovely picture of a house and your text number. So that's ugly marketing in its very simple form. It's yellow boards with the black handwriting. Okay. So I'm just gonna. Someone said that they wanted Neil's Neil's contact details. So I'll give you those details. I think Neil likes it, especially if you call him at 2 o'clock in the morning, preferably drunk. I think he goes down really well to that. So fantastic. Okay. Now some people saying that they can't make it on the 4th and 5th of July. Now I'll tell you what. Now Neil's muted, so he can't intervene in this. Actually, I think we're going to try and run another workshop. I don't know, and don't hold me to this yet, but it's either going to be August or September. Now, the one thing that I will say is that we don't hold this offer very often, or if at all. This is the first time that we've done it on the deal sourcing. So if you are interested in this, and you can make a course in either August or September, and we will confirm the date later on in the week, why not book onto the offer tonight, and in the special comments box say, can't make July, but would like to do the one in August or September, and we'll make sure that you can do it. The one thing that we are doing actually, and again I'll open this out, is that if you can't attend in person, we're going to live stream the whole event, which means that you can listen to it from the comfort of your own home, ask exactly the same questions as if you were at home, as if you were in the room, and interact with Neil as if he's looking right in front of you. And you can find that on my website. So that's the live streaming option. Unfortunately, it is the same money. You will still be getting the same contact. You will still be getting all the same workshops, all the course content. You'll be getting everything, all the contracts and everything that we've spoken about via email. So that is possible. Are there any other questions before we'd like to log off? I mean, again, if you are interested, we are limited on spaces, and since we've been on the website, we've had quite a few people pay. So whether you think July is for you or whether you think September's for you, now's your time. I think that's all our questions, though. Right, okay. So I'd like to, okay, Fran said, just book for next weekend for me and my husband. And just having a quick look, Fran, yeah, I've got your payment. Thank you very much. Yeah, you've used the right link. Yes, I can confirm that. Right, okay. Someone said, can I do this whilst I'm in a full-time job? Of course you can, because when you're driving to work, you may not know, but you would have driven past properties that you might have thought, wow, that looks good. But you don't know how to contact the owner. Or you've driven past a boarded up property and think, oh man, that looks horrible. Why don't you do something with that? Now, what I'll be teaching you is that if you've just driven past those boarded up properties, you'll be thinking, well, actually, I'll be showing you what you can do with it. More importantly, how you can add value to it. Marcia, you and Judy are included, so don't worry about that. You're one of the very early birds that paid in advance, so okay. So yeah, there are lots of people interested. Andre's having to clear it with his missus, and then he'll book tonight. Remember, Andre, we're only doing it for tonight, the special offer. So if it's for you, I'd love to see you again, my friend, because I know that you're going to do great. Now, okay, this is an interesting question. I don't mind answering this question. I don't mind taking questions because you're actually buying me time, because I'm not due to open my fast for another 7 minutes. So at the moment, I'm not feeling hungry. If I was to go and sit downstairs, then I would be. So Anil has asked, can you do the same details for commercial properties on land registry? Yes, you can. The only difference is that if it's a commercial property, it may be owned by a company. So there's a little bit more research that needs to go into it, but these are the details that we'll be going further into on the workshop. So looking at, okay, so if we see a company, what do we need to do? How do we need to go further? How do we track the directors? How do we get to the owner? Or how do we get in touch with the people that own the property? Now, now there's this massive building in Wolverhampton. It used to be the former tax office, and I thought that that would make fantastic apartments. I'm in the process of contacting them. The buildings alone are probably worth about £5 million. Now, I don't have £5 million sitting in the bank, but what I would love to do is try and get an option on them somehow so that I can control them and make the most use of them. So, okay, so someone's just put, is a hotel details the same as a website? That's correct. Yes, it is. Okay, interesting. Now, I've put, Andy's just asked a question. I found a plot of land. The owner's not responding. What else can I do? Okay, so you've located the owner. Why is he not responding? More importantly, my question to you would be, what measures have you taken to contact him? Have you only got his address? Have you been to visit him? Have you wrote to him? Have you called him? Have you located his mobile phone number? Have you located his landline? You can do. When you become a deal sourcer, you almost become like a private detective, and it's fantastic some of the tools that you can use. So if you've only wrote to him but he hasn't responded, why not? Why do you think he hasn't responded? How was your letter? Was your letter not very inviting? Some of the letters that we'll be talking about, some of the details that we'll be talking about is the letter. Remember, when your vendor opens your letter, you've got that one opportunity to get him to grasp your concept. What is it that you're trying to do? What is it that you're trying to do? More importantly, does he have the trust in you? And your letter will address all those questions for him. Now, one of my mentees actually this morning had a coaching call with him, and he had a property that he had seen in Leicester. And now, within an hour and a half, I managed to track the owner's mobile phone number. We spoke to the owner jointly on a Skype call today, and we've agreed to go and see him next Wednesday. We're going to agree a deal with him prior to him putting it on the market. And believe it or not, people like the personal touch. You go out of your way and you surprise them. Hi, is that Andy? Yes, sorry. Yeah, who's that? Yeah, my name's Mr. Ilahi. I noticed that you got that property number 1 ABC Street over there. Okay, just out of curiosity, have you got my mobile number? Right, now here's the interesting thing. I managed to locate you because I'm really interested in your property. Is this something that we can do? Now, did you get interested when you knew that I can get your mobile number? Did you know that I can locate you from lots of different sources and it's all public information? These are the things that we're looking at. These are the things that no one else can teach you. You can go on any other deal sourcing course and they'll teach you to stick some leaflets through some letterboxes. We're going well beyond the measures that anyone else will teach you how to get the deal secured, how to sell the deal, how to make the money from the deal. No other course will give you a solicitor in the room telling you what contracts to use. So I'm just going to have a quick flick through now. Okay, so people are paying and people are booking up. Now the opportunity is yours. The rest is up to you. There's nothing else that I can say really. Okay, so guys, on that note, I think it's time for me to nearly start eating. So I'm going to go and get some food because I haven't eaten for 24 hours. I'd like to thank you very much for being on the website for the webinar tonight. There's still a hell of a lot of you on the webinar. I hope to see you at the workshop next weekend. I hope to meet you in person. I hope to start working with you. And more importantly, it gives me great pleasure when someone turns around to me and says, Arsh, thank you for getting me to financial freedom. And we've had so many people that we've helped, both Neil and I. And I'm going to unmute Neil now, so we're going to get a bit of feedback, so apologies for that. Neil, are you still with us?
Yeah, got you.
Neil, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Okay, so just very quickly, I know we're going to get... But I'd like to say thank you. Neil, is there anything that you'd like to add?
No, I think you've covered everything actually, Ash. You know, I think it was a really good webinar. We delivered a lot of value tonight. So I'm sure everyone got a lot from this. And yeah, like Ash said, if you want to take it to the next level, you think this is maybe the business for you, like so many others that have gone and walked the path before you. You know, that's our promise to you. We'll help you to get there. As long as you put the effort in, we'll always be here for you to help you. So on that note, I just want to say thank you for spending time with us this evening, and I hope to see as many of you as possible on this training or future training. So thank you.
Thanks, Neil. Good night, my friend.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay, guys, have a lovely evening. Thank you for being with us. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and hopefully we see you and speak to you very soon. Okay, good night. Bye-bye.